I'm so sorry, world. I'm really bad at this. Please love me anyway. This was my New Year's resolution, was to start a Booktube account after being a bit of a stalker to the people that I love over the last year, to share the books that I love with you, the books that I'm currently reading with you, etc. This is my New Year's Day introduction. So what I'm going to do is do this in kind of two parts. The first part will be telling you about me, and then I'm going to do the Booktube Newbie Tag, because that is recommended as being the best way to introduce yourself to people. My name is Jasmine. I'm from Australia. I live in Melbourne. I'm 23. Sometimes I get confused and I think I'm 22 or 24, but I'm definitely 23. Just graduated from uni, so I'm hoping that that means I can read more. And here I am. So, Booktube Newbie Challenge. I've rearranged the questions to make them suit me a bit more. This is me moving the computer towards where I can see it. You can't, but I can. It's here. What book or series got you into reading, and when did you start reading? I joined these questions together because they're pretty much the same answer, and I didn't really see the point in answering it once and then re-answering it again 5 questions later. But I actually started reading before I can even remember. I grew up reading. I was the kind of child that got into trouble for reading well into the night with torches, so then I developed the habit of reading by moonlight so that my parents wouldn't discover me with the light on reading. Anyway, that's why they were telling me off, was so that I wouldn't damage my eyes, and I probably completely damaged them by reading by moonlight. But if I had to choose a book, I would most definitely choose these delights. Here they is. I'm sure you all recognize the covers, and you probably already noticed that a couple of them are missing. Lent them to people and they never came back, and they were my original copies, and it's really sad, but they pretty much shaped my childhood. I grew up with the release of these books every year. My birthday party every year was going to see the movies when they came out, because they always were released around my birthday. Yeah, so that is the one book. That being said, obviously, yeah, I have been a lover of reading for as long as I can remember, and it was only when I reached high school and then university that I stopped reading as much, basically just because the stress of uni and other life things got on top of me and sort of ate into the time that I would have spent reading, which takes me on to the next question: why I started Booktube. Booktube is a part of my New Year's resolution to read more, basically. I did this last year too. I failed. So 2017, take 2. Started Booktube, basically. Yeah, I thought it would be a good way to cover the two sort of aspects of my New Year's resolution, one of which is to read more. If I tell you I'm going to read more, maybe it'll make me more accountable, and the other one is to be able to talk more about what I'm reading and think about it, which I'm really bad at. I'm really bad at actually like vocalizing my thoughts about these things. People try and ask me for my opinions and I'm just like a word vomiting blur. So I'm hoping that being able to make an edited video about my thoughts and actually having to put my thoughts into words and tell someone about them will help me think about what I'm reading as well. Excellent. What am I most excited for about this new channel? What am I most excited for about? Thinking critically. Yeah, I always wanted to be the kind of person who thought critically about the books that I was reading, and I think that this channel, like I literally just said, is my answer to that. I would like to be able to share those thoughts with someone else, more than one other person else, hopefully more than one person watches my channel. But that's what I'm most excited about, is the idea of doing this like a really informal book club, where sometimes I'll talk about completely stupid things like my top 5 list of funny books, or like scavenger hunts through bookshops or whatever, and then other times it will be things like actually looking at quotes or passages or something in it that I am in the book that I'm reading that I'm really interested in or excited about. Oh wow, my answer on the computer is a lot longer than what I just said. Lucky I checked my answer on the computer, because there's a second paragraph, and the second paragraph says what is most important, and it's true, so I'm glad I got a chance to say this when I'm most excited about is making new friends on the interwebs, hopefully. What are some fun and unique things that you can bring to Booktube? This feels like the meanest question ever. It's like a job interview question where I have to tell you why you might want to hire me as a booktuber. And I'm not sure why you might want to hire me as a booktuber or even talk to me as a booktuber. A couple of thoughts that I've jotted down are, one, I've studied linguistics. I'm not going to say that I'm a linguist. I'm not a linguist by any means, but I am fascinated by language. All languages, I'm fascinated by words. I'm fascinated by how they're put together into sentences. And I think that maybe that will hopefully bleed across into my YouTube account. Bleed sounds like a very violent word. Maybe I'll think of another word for that, but I'm excited to see whether that maybe is something interesting that I can bring to my account. Another thing is maybe my love of quotes. Some people might collect stamps or dolls or postcards or spoons or other collectible things. I actually collect quotes. I have a book of my collection of quotes. This is it. So I'm thinking that I might actually share some of that with you guys if there are any of you watching this. Throughout my time on this channel, I would love to be able to maybe make a post here and there about the quotes that I find in the books that I'm reading. I'm not sure if that has or hasn't been done before, but that's, yeah, something else that I think maybe I'll be able to bring to this channel. Why do I love reading? I love reading because it is both a comfort and a challenge to me. I like the fact that reading can feel like it's actually like coming home, but you're also exploring a whole new world at the same time. And I love that kind of juxtaposition of the fact that you're getting both challenged and comforted when you're reading. And that's definitely how I feel about it anyway. What kind of books do I like to read? When I was a kid, I loved reading fantasy. That was definitely the genre of books that got me reading the most. Things like Harry Potter. I showed you my Harry Potter. I won't show you again. And Lord of the Rings, which it was only when I was making this video that I realized I don't actually own a copy of Lord of the Rings. So I'm gonna have to do something to rectify that, because Lord of the Rings is definitely a very important book in my history as a reader as well. But nowadays I pretty much read anything with words. I'm not gonna lie, I read everything. So what kind of books do I like to read? Books with words! Where do I read? Mostly everywhere. On the tram, into work, at work. If I actually happen to have a quiet day, I'll try and sneak in a chapter or two. The nature of my work actually allows me to do that, which is really cool. I'll probably tell you about it sometime throughout the year. Yesterday, for example, I drove 5 hours home from visiting my family for Christmas and listened to the audiobook of 12 Years a Slave. So like I'll read in the car kind of as well, whether as a passenger or even driving. Question number 9. What questions would you like to ask to your favorite booktubers? And I really only have one question, and that is, will you please be my friend? That is really the main reason why I'm doing this, is to make friends. And I have watched a lot of your videos for a long time, and there's nothing that I would like more to be able to actually talk to you and connect with you and be friends. Be my friend. I can be a good friend. What challenges do you think starting a booktube account will be the hardest to overcome? Having no one to interact to or talk with will definitely probably be the largest challenge for me. Like I said, one of my main aims here is to find people to share my love of reading with, and for the first couple of months to be sort of posting these videos, hoping that I find someone to interact with, and then, you know, maybe seeing 0 views, 0 comments, 0 anything, like struggling to find people to actually share my videos with or talk to about them, commenting on other people's videos and having them not reply. I don't know. I'm really paranoid. I worry very much that that is what will happen, and then I'll kind of feel like I'm talking to an empty room, really, or perhaps even worse, talking to a room full of people but no one is noticing that I'm trying to talk to them. So again, please do reach out to me. I really want to find friends here, and that is my biggest fear, is that I'll do all of this for a year and not have anyone to talk to about all of my books. That is my attempt at answering the Booktube Newbie Tag. Booktube Newbie Tag. I hope that I didn't bore you. I hope that I bring something unique to it. I don't really have any interesting film things that I can do. It's literally just me talking to a camera at the moment. I do have a rabbit. This is my rabbit. Here she is. Isn't she pretty? Maybe you'll get to see more of her too over time because she's pretty cute. And she might tell you what she thinks of the books too. She thinks they're really tasty. Actually, she really likes to eat my books. There's my rabbit. Anyway, hopefully there is something in all of this footage that is salvageable enough to turn into a video. If that is the case, I will be posting this on the 1st of January. Happy New Year, everybody. And that's it. I'm on Booktube now. I am on Booktube now. Please talk to me. I would love that very much indeed.